Hello everyone, I'm going to do some Uber fights and some Saring fights. All these maps that I'm doing right now are going to be juiced in some way by alchemies or other ways. So I'm going to start off with the Eater fight. I'm going to explain to you what's going on. I'm going to put on Bone Offering, curse him with Temporal Chains and Despair, summon my skeletons, and wait for Withering Step to proc, like it did. Here comes phase 2. Reapply Bone Offering. Withering Step is on my mouse button, so whenever it goes off, it goes off. I know that's not the most ideal way of playing, but that's how I use it. Alright, the Eater is down. I'll explain it again how I do it. Alright, the first thing I'm going to do is put Bone Offering up. Curse him with Despair and Temporal Chains. Summon my skeletons. And then Withering Step should be procced. Alright, here's phase 2. Try to live through phase 2. Alright, phase 2 is over. And he is dead. What did I get? I don't even know if that's good, but I'll take it. So I'm just gonna do the fight. You should probably know what I'm gonna be doing now. And he is down again. I'll do him a couple more times to let you guys see how well the build is and how good it works. This is juice normal Uber Eater, by the way. Not Uber Eater, I mean just Eater of the Worlds. You want to make sure that you have a Bone Offering on this build at all times, especially when you're doing a boss or when you're doing maps. I'm going to be doing a couple of maps too after I'm done with the Eater and the Saring. Another one, huh? I don't even know if it's good or not, but like I said before, I'll take it. Alright, here comes the last Uber, not the Uber, I keep saying Uber, the Eater fight. Bone Offering, Despair, Temporal Chains, Skeletons. Make sure you keep an eye on your skeletons too, because they might die. Second phase, make sure you have Bone Offering up. That is it. Ooh, he's gonna blow up. And he is down. Alright, I'm gonna do some sharings. I am not very good at these fights, so your mileage may vary on this build but when doing them, if you know how to do them better. But the same rules apply. I'm gonna put up Bone Offering first. Despair, Temporal Chains, summon Skeletons, and then wait for Withering Step to proc or go off. Alrighty, here comes the different phase, or phase 2 as I like to call them. And I die. Alright. I'm not very good at this fight, so I'm just winging it. Here comes the second phase again. And I die again. Like I said before, I'm not very good at this fight. And he is down. Do him a couple more times. And then I'm going to jump into the PoB. Oops. Alright, here comes the different phase, or phase 2. And the searing is down again. Maybe 1 or 2 more tries again on him. Oh, it's got... That was weird. Oh, that's cool. Alright, this will be the last attempt on them, or the last one I do on them, and I'm going to jump into some maps to show you what it could do in maps. Okay. Second phase still. I'm just terrible at this fight. I apologize. Like I said before, and if I didn't say it, your mileage will vary on this guy because if you know how to do the fight better, you should be able to smoke him really easily with this build. Alright, now I'm going to hop into some maps. Alright, I'll do like about 3 maps. I'll even turn on Fortune Favors the Brave to increase the amount of monsters are in the map. You always want to make sure you have Bone Offering on. You're getting a lot of block and spell block chance from it. Alright, that was the shrine. Pretty easy for this build. Alright, that was a map. I'll do 2 more maps to show you what's going on. I'll pick one from here. I'll do the courthouse. This is a definitely different layout type of map. Narrow corridors, small rooms. And this build excels at all narrow, wide open spaces, narrow. It's going to be able to do all the type of maps that you have in the game. Remember, I'm going to go over all this stuff in the PoB after I'm done with the next map. Okay, it's the second map down. So I'll do the last map. I'll do the carcass map, I believe it's called. So this is the last map I'll do. And then I'll jump into the PoB and start explaining what's going on in the build. Like I said, you want to make sure that you have Bone Offering going all the time, because it's about 32 spell and block chance while you have it up for your build. Because you're using Mistress of Sacrifice and Ascendancies on the Witch Tree, or on a Witch Tree, you are getting the benefits of using offerings from it, and that offering is increasing your block and spell chance significantly. Okay, do the strong box. Alright, that takes care of the strong box. Continue onward to the boss, and it looks like he's pretty close by already. And he goes down without a fight. So that was all the bosses and the maps I was going to do. So I'm going to jump into PoB, or Path of Building, and start explaining the build. Alright, I'm going to begin by saying how I will level this build. And your two primary focuses are going to be on skeletons and zombies. Your first ability is going to be Lord of the Undead. And next, you're going to go and get Grave Pack. While you get Grave Pack, you're going to be taking a lot of like health nodes and minion nodes and regeneration nodes at the same time. The mastery is not going to be necessary from Grave Pack, so just leave it till later on in the build. Then I go and get Redemption. After Redemption, I get Sovereignty, and when I get Sovereignty, I make sure that I always have Purity of Elements on. Purity of Elements is my favorite aura in the game. It makes you immune to ailments, so you want to use it as soon as possible, and it gives you a lot of resist as well. So after Sovereignty, you could definitely pick up these health nodes if you want to. So that would be Cruel Preparation and Purity of Flesh, and then you'd go down and you'd pick up Constitution. After Constitution, you'd pick up Sentinel, and then you would pick up the resists. You might even pick up fire resist because you're going to be leveling through the game, and your resists are going to be dropping as you go further and further in the game. So having a lot of resists like this coming from your build helps a lot while leveling. After that, it's going to be your choice. You definitely have Golem Commander up here, but it can only be you can only use a summon Golem until level 34. So it's up to you when you get Golem Commander. It's not necessary. You could probably use Golem Commander points somewhere else if you want to give it more DPS or more survivability as well. Then I forgot that you could get Heart and Soul too during the health phase that I just went over. You're also using Mind Over Matter and Eldritch Battery. Adding both of these together is a very good efficient hit pool increase. So make sure that you use this when you can or whenever you feel comfortable using it. Then after all that, you could focus on getting the armor nodes, or you could get the block nodes. It all depends on when you actually get Mistress of Sacrifice, the Ascendancy on the necromancer tree. Once you get Mystery of Sacrifice, you're going to want to bump your block up as much as possible to get it maxed out or close to being maxed out as possible. 75% is the max for block and spell block, to let you know. So, but like, you could take Mistress of Sacrifice first in the Ascendancy if you wanted to, but I personally like to go more defense, more attack mode on my builds first. So I would go for mindless aggression, unnatural strength, then I would get bone barrier, and then I would get Mistress of Sacrifice. So the first two, mindless aggression and unnatural strength, are a lot of DPS for your build. Bone armor is regeneration, health regeneration, and more physical damage reduction. And then Mistress of Sacrifice I just went over, and it's really good. If you don't feel like you're worried about dying or anything, you could always change your offering from bone offering, from being block to flesh offering, to increase your speed to make your build even quicker going through maps. And the block nodes that I have right here are Stalwart Stance, and the Mastery has increased defense while wielding a staff, which is very good. And then I have Whirling Barrier, and then I have plus 2% to energy shield and life while blocking with the staff. And then I also have Safeguard, which is a lot of spell blocking. When you block with this ability, you get 50 energy shield recovery. So it helps a lot. So what else can I go over really quick? The Forbidden Flesh is Withering Presence, and they're pretty expensive. I believe it'll cost you probably around 30 divine to get both of them, but you do not need to have Withering Presence. You could definitely use whatever combination you want, just probably not from the Elementalist tree. So, and then I believe the Ghastly Eye Jewels I am using a couple of them. The stats you're focusing on are minions deal increased damage while you use a minion skill recently. The minion skill that you're going to be using to trigger this is going to be Bone Offering. Then you're going to be looking for minions at 15% chance to poison enemies on hit. Doesn't have to be 15%, it goes down to 10%, but you want to have that stat on there. And the last two stats that you're going to want for DPS, if you want them, is going to be minions deal chaos damage and minions deal physical damage. But you do not need those two. You could definitely choose whatever combination that you want. And the Armory Mastery right here is 20 chances to defend with 200% of armor. That ability is up to you to whenever you want to get it. And then the 20 increased effective offerings would probably be really good when you actually get Mistress of Sacrifice to increase the amount of block and spell block that you get from offerings, or Bone Offering to be more specific. I also have Enigmatic Defense for more blocking, and then I have Mystic Bulwark as well. So, like the block chance is going to be last. Next to last is going to be your health, and then everything else I went over. So that goes over the talent tree really quickly. I am not too sure how the build is actually configured right now. It is not on a bus, and I'm not looking at the full DPS, but there's a full DPS if you want to see it. Alright, Bone Armor is not going to be used while you're playing. Commandment of Reflection is just a buff that I have on my gloves, and I disabled it for the sake of the build. Aspect of the Spider I have on my ring, but I am not using it. I only have 3 auras going, and I'll go over them really soon. I'm going to jump into the Raised Zombie, your main stat or your main attack or gem that you're using for damage. You have Phantasmal Raised Zombies is the best variant you could get for Raised Zombies. But the normal variant of Raised Zombie 21 is very inexpensive, and you can definitely get it cheap. And it works just as well as Phantasmal. It's just not as much damage, but it's not that great of a difference. Level 21 gem Raised Phantasmal is going to cost you a lot, and it's hard to get. Then you have Awakened Bound Elements, Awakened Minion Damage, Awakened Void Manipulation, Empower. You do not need an Empower 4. You could definitely use a 3 if you want to. It's not that bad of a DPS drop. So that would definitely cut corners on your cost or your currency to get this set up really quickly. Then I have Multi-Strike, and it's a different variant. I avoid using Awakened Multi-Strike in all my builds because of how expensive it is. And this variant right here does not need to be 21. It could definitely be 20, and it's still not going to hurt you. You just want to focus on the quality of the Multi-Strike. Next, I'm going to go over the Vaal Summoning Skeletons. And the Vaal Summoning Skeletons is level 21. But I believe like a level 20 Vaal Summoning Skeletons won't be very expensive at all. I'm almost sure of it. So the level 21 gem that I got was like about 7 divine when I got it. So I'm believing the level 20 Vaal Summoning Skeletons will be cheap. If you tick the Vaal Summoning Skeletons for full DPS on this, the damage increase is very high. It's like about a 3 million DPS increase to full damage. I'm using the same variant Multi-Strike because it's cheap and you won't have to worry about the cost of it. Then it has Awakened Minion Damage, Awakened Unbound Elements, Awakened Vicious Projectiles, and then it has Awakened Void Manipulation. Getting both of these setups for your zombies and your skeletons is probably going to cost you from anywhere from 10 to 15 divine. So it's not too bad in the whole scheme of everything. So pretty much like the big, like from me adding, so this build is going to cost like about 40 divine so far. Now I'm going to go over the gloves. The gloves have Bone Offering. I went over Bone Offering a lot. And then it has both of your curses, Temporal Chains and Despair. You're going to be hard casting your Temporal Chains and Despair. So they do maximum effect when you use them. And the Despair is a different variant, and Temporal Chains, it really doesn't matter. You can make it a quicker cast. It's not really quality, and the variant don't really matter. Then you have Withering Step. Withering Step gives you withering stacks, which increases your chaos damage. And your main source of damage for your skeletons and your raised zombies is poison, so this affects it a lot. Withering stacks increase the damage of your build a lot. The variant that I'm using is different than the original, and well, this one is the best you could get, but a level 21 gem with Withering Step for this variant is going to cost a lot of divine, so you don't really need it. A level 20 gem for this variant will work just as fine. It'll just be one less Withering stack. So now the boots have raised Spectres. You're going to be using Chieftains or Carnage Chieftains. It'll be in the PoB when you look at it, and you'll be using 2 of them. And these Spectres are from map 2 as well. You're using Feeding Frenzy, that's coming from your raised Spectres that are proccing it, and that increases your damage for your minions. Then you have Desecrate for your Bone Offering and the raise your zombies and Spectres. Then you have Withering Touch. And the Withering Touch adds on to the Withering Step stacks that you have. So you're getting a lot of Withering stacks. The goal is to try and get 15 Withering stacks at all times. So now I'm going to go over to Helmet. I have Determination, a Summon Cast Golem, Purity of Elements, and Vaal Haste. I'm going to change this to just Haste. That'll be in the PoB when I link it. So when you do use Vaal Haste, it's a lot of damage. It's like about 1.5 million DPS increase. Purity of Elements, you want to have this aura on first, and it's your most important one. Then Determination is going to be your second most important, and then Haste will be your last important. You should not have mana problems with this build, so you won't need a Enlighten 4 and Enlighten 3. So that goes over the skills. I'm going to jump into the items. The Cane goes for 12 divine today. I looked it up earlier today, and it was going for 12 divine. I believe this is the best stack to use for this build, and it's the cheapest. So try to get it Another thing is that you don't need the +3 of the socketed support gems on this stat to make this build work, but it definitely helps a lot. The mask does not have an enchant on it. What enchant you are looking for is zombies increased attack speed, zombies attack damage, or plus stacks of withering step 2 or 3. And you should be okay. You're not going to have mana efficiency problems. This helmet is optimized really good for this build, but you do not need chance to suppress spell damage. This helmet cost me 8 divine when I got it. The chest is really good. The implicits are wrong. You could definitely use whatever eater and searing that you want to use for your implicits. The key here is to focus on getting minions 60% chance to poison enemies on hit. Removing it from your build is going to hurt your damage a lot. I'm going to take it off really quick, and it was like about a 23 million DPS drop. So you want to use it at all costs. Another thing is that getting your color sockets are really easy with this chest, is because it's going to have armor, evasion, and energy shield. The triad grip is 4 white sockets, and what it does is it makes your minions do all chaos damage. So whenever you're damaging a creature or a monster in the game, if it has an energy shield, the minions will bypass the energy shield and go straight to health, which is really cool. These go for about 4 divine as well. I'm not sure if they go for 4 divine anymore, but that's how much I got them for. The boots are whatever, run speed or whatever you're looking for. You're probably going to need dexterity, so these should go for about like 2 to 3 divine to try and get another set like I have right here, so it's not too bad. The Eyes of the Great Wolf cost me a divine, and it cost me about like 30, like about 50 casts to get the anointment going. You cannot get a version of Eyes of the Great Wolf without it being corrupted, so it kind of sucks that you're going to have to actually get another oil to actually give this the Whispers of Doom. And the Whispers of Doom you're going to need 3 gold. Is it golden or gold? Doesn't matter. You're going to need gold oils to do it. So it's pretty expensive. The rings, you could definitely get good rings. There's tons of them. But I spent a lot on these and they're optimized really well. So if you want to follow the stats on them, you can. I'm just letting you know that you could definitely get a ton of rings. I'm just curious to see how much damage drops if I take them off. Yeah, it's a lot. But they're up to you to how you want to put them on or get them. And like I said before, there's tons of them. You should be able to get a good pair of them. And the belt, Mother's Embrace. Whenever you summon, so what it says is your minions use your flask when summoned. This confused me for a while. But what you're doing is when you're summoning skeletons, you're summoning a lot of skeletons at once. So what's happening is that this belt is giving all the skeletons that you summon a flash, the flash that you're using. But the cool thing about this is that you could actually have a health potion on top of giving your minions the flash that you're using. So I have the blood, so I have a health potion as well as the damage potions for my minions, or my skeletons to be specific. What you want to do is you want to make sure that you're using a trigger on the flash that's right next to your health potion to not be able to be used. So at the moment I'm using it used when you become ignited, and I'm using pure developments. So I have immunity to elemental effects, so I cannot be ignited. So that pretty much means whenever I use my skeletons, these flashes are going to go off, and I'm still going to have my health flash to be able to use. And the flasks are whatever, not too expensive. You should be able to get them easily. This build uses the gaze, unfortunately, and it's pretty expensive. It goes for like around 11 to 15 divine orbs, and you can only have 5 ghastly eye jewels affecting you at the time because it only goes up to 60%. and every ghastly eye jewel is a 6% increment. So just try to remember that. Now I'm going to go over the configurations. I'm using the major god that increases your physical damage reduction by 8% and your movement speed by 8%. And I'm using the minor god that does not allow you to be hurt by bleeding while moving. I find that I always use these two lately, so you should be pretty familiar if you watch my videos. I have frenzy charges from the Chieftains, or Carnage Chieftains from Act 2. Are you elusive? Yes. I have Withering Step going most of the time. I'm going to take this off really quick. So, then do I have Flash active? Yes. You have 24 summon minions. This is used for the Ascendancy Bone Barrier. So whenever you have like a certain amount of minions by you, you get increased physical damage reduction, and then you get more recovery rate of life and energy shield per minion up at 20%. So having more minions up is a lot. I don't need to put 24 of them there, but I do have 24. 10 is good enough. Are you on consecrated ground? Yes, because you are using Bottled Faith with your minions, so you are getting the effect as well, which increases your health regeneration. Number of enemies nearby is 8. Have you been hit recently? Probably. Have you blocked recently? Yes, you probably have. Have you used a minion skill recently? Yes. You will be using Bone Offering a lot. And I believe the maximum amount of corpses you could actually consume with Bone Offering or any offering is 5. Do you have Feeding Frenzy active? Yes. We have the skill or gem going with the Spectres. And then we have 15 Withering Stacks. We have 15 Withering Stacks from Withering Touch and Withering Step. I also have Withering Presence, the Ascendancy from the Occultist tree going through Flame and Flesh. But even if you don't have the Withering Presence from the Occultist tree, it'll still be 15. Is the enemy on consecrated ground? Yes, we are using Bottled Faith. So I'm going to go over the effective hit pool and the damage for each enemy boss there is in the game. So with no boss, with nothing going on, just normal trash and everything, you're doing 44 million DPS, and you have an infinite effective hit pool. So when I switch it to standard boss, you have 36.2 million full DPS, and you have 195,000 effective hit pool. When you drop it to Guardian Pinnacle boss, you have 34.5 full DPS million, and then you have 108,000 effective hit pool, which is really good. And then on Uber Pinnacle boss, you have 10.3 million full DPS, and your effective hit pool is 90.4 thousand effective hit pool. So that goes over everything. So as always, be safe, be careful. Till next time, have a nice day. Show some support and subscribe please if you like the content, and have a nice day. Thank you so much for watching.